What if I told you that there's a secret so powerful, so transformative, that it's been deliberately hidden from ordinary people for centuries? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Right now, as you're watching this, there are forces at work that most people will never understand. Has this ever happened to you? You've wondered why some individuals seem to effortlessly attract wealth, success, and opportunities, while others struggle their entire lives despite working just as hard, if not harder. The answer isn't what you've been told about luck, connections, or even talent. For centuries, there has existed a body of knowledge so potent that it was reserved exclusively for leaders, alchemists, military commanders, and the ultra-wealthy. This wasn't kept secret because it was dangerous to humanity. Quite the opposite. It was hidden because if this knowledge reached the hands of ordinary people, the entire system of control would collapse overnight. What you're about to discover might surprise you, but every thought that crosses your mind is far more powerful than you've ever imagined. When your mind becomes programmed with ironclad beliefs, it unleashes invisible forces that literally modify physical reality around you. This isn't mystical thinking or wishful fantasy. This is a scientific principle that the elite have used to build empires while keeping the masses in the dark. Think about it for a moment. Every skyscraper, every technological breakthrough, every fortune that exists today was once nothing more than a thought in someone's mind. But here's what they don't want you to know. When that thought becomes charged with absolute faith, it transforms into a command that the universe has no choice but to obey. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share with you will fundamentally change how you view your own mental capabilities. The wealthy understand something that escapes most people entirely. Your thoughts aren't just random electrical impulses in your brain. They're vibrational frequencies that communicate directly with the fabric of reality itself. Right now, your subconscious mind is operating like a powerful broadcasting station, sending out signals 24 hours a day. The question isn't whether you're broadcasting, you always are. The real question is, are you broadcasting frequencies of abundance and success, or are you unknowingly transmitting signals of limitation and scarcity? This forbidden knowledge reveals that your mind, when properly programmed, becomes an unstoppable force for creating wealth. But here's the thing. Most people are walking around with mental programming that was installed during their childhood. Programming that was designed to keep them small, obedient, and financially dependent. What if you could reprogram that internal software? What if you could access the same mental tools that history's greatest wealth creators have used to manifest their fortunes? The ancient alchemists called it turning lead into gold. But what they were really talking about was the transformation of ordinary thoughts into extraordinary results. The techniques I'm about to share with you have been tested not just by mystics and philosophers, but by some of the most successful entrepreneurs, inventors, and leaders throughout history. They understood that before you can have wealth in your hands, you must first create it in your mind. The transformation begins the moment you understand that your mind operates like the most sophisticated computer ever created. But here's the hidden truth. Most people are running outdated software that was programmed by others. Every limiting belief about money, every doubt about your worthiness, every fear about taking risks was installed in your mental operating system without your conscious permission. If you're someone who craves this level of depth and practical wisdom about consciousness and wealth creation, consider subscribing. Each video I share builds on these foundations, giving you a complete toolkit for transforming your relationship with abundance from the inside out. But there's a way to hack this system, and it's called autosuggestion. This isn't some new age concept. It's a precise mental technology that the most successful people throughout history have used to reprogram their subconscious minds. Think of autosuggestion as the master key that unlocks the vault where your true creative power has been locked away. Here's what happens behind the scenes when you begin using this technique correctly. Your conscious mind acts like a security guard, constantly filtering and analyzing information. But your subconscious mind, that's where the real magic happens. It's like having access to a vast network of intelligence that operates beyond the limitations of logic and reason. When you feed it the right commands through autosuggestion, it begins working around the clock to manifest your desires in ways that seem almost supernatural. The invisible force that governs this entire process is absolutely fascinating. Every thought you think sends out a vibrational frequency into the universe, but most thoughts are weak and scattered. However, when you charge a thought with absolute belief, when you feel it in every cell of your body, something extraordinary occurs. That thought becomes a command that reality has no choice but to obey. This is why two people can have the exact same idea, but only one becomes wealthy from it. The difference isn't intelligence, education, or even circumstances. The difference lies in the level of belief they inject into their thoughts. One person thinks this might work, while the other knows with unshakable certainty this will work. That certainty creates a completely different energetic signature. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined with emotion. This is actually a feature, not a bug. When you repeatedly feed your subconscious mind images of success, abundance, and achievement, when you make these mental movies so real that you can taste, feel, and experience them, your brain begins creating neural pathways that support these new realities. The wealthy understand something profound about the relationship between belief and manifestation. They know that the universe operates on precise laws, just like physics or mathematics. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs with what you want to create, you're essentially placing an order with reality itself. But here's the crucial part. Doubt cancels the order. Fear reverses it. Only absolute conviction delivers the results. The journey from scarcity thinking to abundance mindset isn't just about changing what you think. It's about fundamentally altering how you think. Most people approach wealth creation from a place of need, desperately hoping something will change. But when you truly grasp this hidden knowledge, you begin operating from a place of knowing. You're not hoping for wealth, you're expecting it, because you've already created it in the invisible realm of thought. This is where most people stumble. They want proof before they believe, but the universe requires belief before it provides proof. It's like standing in front of a fireplace and demanding heat. Before you're willing to put in the wood, the sequence matters, and successful people understand this backwards approach to manifestation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this transformation and show you exactly how your mind processes these commands, because there's a specific science to making this work consistently. The revelations about how your subconscious actually communicates with the quantum field of possibilities will completely change your approach to creating wealth. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to reprogram my mind." The science behind this transformation reveals something shocking about how we've been conditioned from birth. Every single limitation you currently accept as truth was programmed into your mind during your most vulnerable years. Think about the hidden truth behind this. From the moment you could understand language, you were taught to live exclusively based on what you could see, touch, and measure. This conditioning was so thorough, so complete, that most people never question whether there might be another way to interact with reality. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Every single thing that exists in your world today, the device you're watching this on, the building you're in, the entire infrastructure of modern civilization, all of it began as nothing more than an invisible idea in someone's mind. The Wright brothers didn't have proof that humans could fly when they started building their airplane. They had something far more powerful than proof. They had unshakable faith in an idea that most people considered impossible. If this conversation sparked something real for you, if you felt that recognition when we talked about activating your quantum mind, a like tells me this message hit home and helps others who need to hear this find their way here too. This is where the journey gets really interesting, because your subconscious mind operates on completely different principles than your conscious, logical mind. While your conscious mind demands evidence and proof, your subconscious mind functions like the most loyal servant you could ever imagine. It doesn't question, doesn't doubt, doesn't analyze. It simply takes whatever you feed it with sufficient repetition and emotional intensity and begins working to make that your reality. The impact of understanding this distinction cannot be overstated. Your subconscious mind processes approximately 11 million bits of information per second, while your conscious mind can only handle about 40 bits. This means that 99.9% of your mental processing power is happening below the level of your awareness. And here's the mind-blowing part. This vast intelligence doesn't distinguish between what's actually happening and what you're vividly imagining with strong emotion. This is why visualization works, but not in the way most people think. It's not about wishful thinking or positive daydreaming. When you create detailed mental images charged with authentic emotion, your subconscious mind begins treating those images as memories of future events. It starts organizing your perception, your decisions, and even your behavior to align with these mental blueprints. Behind the scenes, something extraordinary happens during this process. Your subconscious begins highlighting opportunities that were always there but remained invisible to your conscious awareness. It's like suddenly having access to a filtering system that shows you exactly what you need to see, when you need to see it. People often describe this as luck or coincidence, but it's actually the result of precise mental programming. The transformation occurs because your subconscious doesn't operate in linear time the way your conscious mind does. It can access information from your past, process your present circumstances, and begin creating pathways toward your future simultaneously. This is why successful people often seem to have an almost supernatural ability to be in the right place at the right time with the right idea. Your invisible servant, your subconscious mind, is constantly scanning the environment for data that matches the programming you've given it. If you've programmed it with thoughts of scarcity, struggle, and limitation, it will find evidence to support those beliefs everywhere it looks. But when you deliberately reprogram it with thoughts of abundance, opportunity, and success, it begins attracting those experiences instead. The key insight that most people miss is that this reprogramming requires more than just positive thinking. Your subconscious responds most powerfully to the combination of repetition, vivid imagery, and authentic emotion. When these three elements come together consistently, they create what can only be described as a reality-shaping force. But there's an even deeper layer to this process that involves understanding exactly how to communicate with your subconscious mind in its native language, and why certain techniques work while others fail completely. Write in the comments, "My mind is my most powerful tool." The hidden truth about wealth creation lies in understanding a fundamental principle that most people completely overlook. Nothing in the material world happens by accident. Every dollar that flows into someone's bank account, every successful business venture, every breakthrough moment, all of these follow precise laws of cause and effect. But here's what separates those who struggle financially from those who create abundance effortlessly. They understand that the cause always begins in the invisible realm of thought. Your directed thought becomes the seed, but it's emotion that waters that seed and gives it life. When you combine focused thinking with powerful emotion, you create a mental charge that penetrates deep into your subconscious programming. But the real transformation happens when you seal that combination with absolute belief. This isn't just confidence or hope, this is unshakable knowing that what you're creating in your mind must manifest in your reality. Behind the scenes of every major fortune, every innovative breakthrough, every seemingly impossible success story, there was someone who mastered this invisible process. They learned to activate hidden mental powers that most people don't even know exist. These aren't supernatural abilities, they're natural capabilities that have been systematically educated out of us by a society that profits from keeping people mentally limited. The journey from limitation to abundance begins when you realize that everything you see in the physical world around you started as nothing more than a mental image in someone's consciousness. The chair you're sitting on, the technology connecting us right now, even the language we're using to communicate, all of these began as invisible blueprints in the realm of imagination before they became tangible realities. There's a whole community of people here who understand that real wealth starts in the mind. And if you want to be part of these ongoing conversations about unlocking your infinite potential, hit that subscribe button. You'll get access to insights that most people never encounter. This reveals something profound about how the universe actually operates. Your mental images aren't just daydreams or random thoughts. They're architectural plans for your future reality. When you sustain a clear mental image with enough emotional intensity and unwavering belief, you're essentially placing an order with the creative forces of the universe. But most people abort this process before it can complete because they lose faith when they don't see immediate physical evidence. The decision to persist with your mental imagery, despite external appearances, is what separates the wealthy from the struggling. Successful people understand that there's always a gestation period between the moment you plant a mental seed and when you harvest the physical results. During this invisible incubation phase, your subconscious mind is working behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances, attracting opportunities, and aligning resources in ways that your conscious mind could never coordinate. What's fascinating about this process is how it demonstrates the true relationship between the visible and invisible worlds. Most people believe that you have to see something before you can have it, but the wealthy operate from the opposite understanding. You have to mentally possess something before it can physically manifest. This reversal of conventional thinking is what allows them to create wealth from what appears to be nothing. Your mental blueprints function like a GPS system for your subconscious mind. Just as a GPS needs a clear destination to calculate the best route, your subconscious needs vivid mental images to determine which opportunities to highlight, which people to bring into your path, and which actions to inspire you to take. Without these clear internal blueprints, your subconscious has no target to aim for, so it simply maintains whatever patterns are already established. The impact of truly understanding this principle extends far beyond just financial success. When you realize that your sustained mental images become the templates for your entire life experience, you begin taking responsibility for your internal world in a completely different way. Every recurring thought pattern, every mental movie you play repeatedly, every image you hold with emotional intensity becomes a prediction of your future reality. But there's a crucial element to making this work consistently that involves understanding exactly how to construct these mental blueprints so they communicate effectively with your subconscious mind, and why certain visualization techniques produce tangible results while others remain just wishful thinking. Write in the comments, "I create my reality from the inside out." The transformation that occurs when you truly grasp this principle is nothing short of remarkable. Your subconscious mind operates like the most sophisticated virtual reality system ever created. But here's the hidden truth: it can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and an actual memory. When you sustain a powerful emotional mental image with enough repetition, your subconscious begins treating that vision as established fact, as something that has already happened or is inevitably going to happen. This creates a profound shift in how you move through the world. Behind the scenes, your entire energetic signature changes. People begin responding to you differently, not because you're consciously doing anything different, but because you're operating from a completely transformed internal state. You start making decisions that your old scarcity-based self would never have considered. Opportunities that were always present but invisible to your previous mindset suddenly become obvious and accessible. The journey from limitation to abundance involves understanding that you don't attract what you want through logical thinking or strategic planning alone. Those elements are important, but they're secondary to something much more fundamental, the vibrational frequency you're broadcasting through your emotional state. Your emotions are like a radio transmitter, constantly sending out signals that attract matching experiences, people, and circumstances into your life. This is why visualization without emotion is essentially powerless. Most people approach visualization like they're watching a movie. They see images in their mind, but remain emotionally detached observers. But when you combine vivid mental imagery with authentic, intense emotion, you create what can only be described as a magnetic force that begins reorganizing your external reality to match your internal experience. The impact of this process reaches into every area of your existence because your subconscious mind doesn't compartmentalize. When you program it with images of financial success charged with feelings of gratitude, excitement, and certainty, it doesn't just affect your money-making abilities. It transforms your confidence, your relationships, your health, your creativity. Everything shifts because you're operating from a fundamentally different energetic foundation. Showing your appreciation with a E not only lets me know this resonated with you, but it also helps the algorithm connect this content with other people who are searching for exactly what you just experienced. What's fascinating about this transformation is how it demonstrates the difference between hoping for something and knowing it's coming. When you master emotional visualization, you stop vibrating from a place of need and desperation. Instead, you begin vibrating from a place of expectant knowing, as if what you desire is already on its way to you. This shift in vibration changes everything about how the world responds to you. Your decisions become bolder because you're no longer operating from fear of loss. You attract different people into your circle because your energy signature is drawing in individuals who match your elevated frequency. You notice opportunities that were invisible before because your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, has been reprogrammed to highlight possibilities rather than problems. The hidden revelations about how this process actually works go even deeper than most people realize. When you consistently feed your subconscious mind emotionally charged images of success, you're literally rewiring your neural pathways. Your brain begins creating new networks that support the behaviors, thoughts, and actions of the successful person you're visualizing yourself becoming. This neurological transformation happens automatically, but it requires consistency and emotional authenticity. Your subconscious can detect when you're just going through the motions versus when you're genuinely feeling the emotions associated with your desired outcome. The difference in results between these two approaches is absolutely staggering. Now, I want to go even deeper into understanding exactly why this emotional component is so crucial and reveal the specific techniques that allow you to generate authentic emotions even when your current circumstances seem to contradict the reality you're trying to create. Write in the comments, "I feel my success before I see it." The transformation becomes even more profound when you understand that every single word you speak to yourself is programming your reality at the deepest level. Most people have no idea they're running a constant internal dialogue that's literally creating their future experiences. Right now, as you're processing this information, there's a voice in your head commenting, analyzing, agreeing or disagreeing with what you're hearing. That voice isn't just passive commentary, it's an active force shaping your destiny. Your internal dialogue operates like a software program that's constantly running in the background of your consciousness. Everything you repeat to yourself with sufficient emotional intensity becomes a direct command to your subconscious mind. When you consistently tell yourself, "I can't afford this," or "money is tight," or "I'm not good with finances," you're literally programming limitation into your mental operating system. But here's the hidden truth that changes everything. You can deliberately rewrite this programming through the precise application of auto-suggestion. The journey from unconscious self-sabotage to conscious self-empowerment begins when you realize that auto-suggestion isn't just positive thinking. It's a scientific method for communicating directly with the most powerful part of your mind. Your words carry vibrational frequencies that penetrate far deeper than your conscious awareness. When you repeat an affirmation with genuine emotional force, you're not just saying words, you're transmitting energetic codes that reprogram your subconscious beliefs. Behind the scenes, something remarkable happens during this process. Your subconscious mind begins accepting these repeated statements as established facts about your reality. It doesn't question whether they're currently true or false. It simply receives the information and starts organizing your thoughts, perceptions, and behaviors to align with these new instructions. This is why auto-suggestion requires emotional authenticity, not just mechanical repetition. The impact of understanding this principle extends far beyond simple affirmations. Your subconscious is constantly monitoring the emotional charge behind your words. When you say something with conviction, passion, and certainty, it carries a completely different vibrational signature than when you're just going through the motions. The difference in results between authentic emotional engagement and empty repetition is absolutely staggering. Most people fail with affirmations because they approach them like they're trying to convince themselves of something they don't really believe. But successful people understand that auto-suggestion works in reverse. You're not trying to convince your subconscious of anything. Instead, you're feeding it information with such emotional intensity that it has no choice but to accept it as truth and begin manifesting evidence to support this new reality. The hidden revelations about how this process actually functions reveal that your words are far more than just communication tools. They're reality creation instruments. Every phrase you repeat with emotional charge becomes a vibrational blueprint that your subconscious uses to filter opportunities, attract circumstances, and guide your decision-making process. This is why wealthy people often seem to have different conversations with themselves than struggling people do. Make sure you subscribe if you want to continue this journey with me. I dive deep into the hidden principles that actually create lasting wealth and success, and there's so much more to explore beyond what we've covered today. The transformation occurs because your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you're affirming and what you're experiencing. When you consistently declare, "I am," attracting abundant opportunities with the same emotional conviction you'd have if it were already happening, your mind begins treating this statement as a memory of your future rather than a hope for what might be possible. This process works because your subconscious operates on the principle of repetition and emotional intensity. The more frequently you input certain information, and the stronger the emotional charge accompanying that information, the more deeply it becomes embedded in your programming. Eventually, these repeated statements become automatic thoughts that run constantly in the background, continuously attracting experiences that match their vibrational frequency. Now, I want to explore exactly how to craft these vibrational codes so they bypass your conscious resistance and speak directly to your subconscious in the language it understands most effectively. Write in the comments, "My words create my world." The revelation that transforms everything is understanding. that your subconscious mind operates on an entirely different communication system than your conscious mind. While your logical brain processes words and analyzes meaning, your subconscious responds primarily to the emotional frequency behind those words. This is why you can repeat positive affirmations all day long, but if there's fear, doubt, or uncertainty vibrating beneath the surface, your subconscious will always obey the emotion, not the words. Think about the profound implications of this discovery. Every time you declare, "I am abundant," while simultaneously feeling anxious about your bank account, you're sending mixed signals to the most powerful part of your mind. Your subconscious doesn't hear the words. It feels the contradiction. It receives the underlying message of scarcity and fear, and that's exactly what it begins manifesting in your external reality. This hidden truth explains why so many people struggle with manifestation techniques despite following all the prescribed steps. They're focusing on getting the words right while completely ignoring the emotional foundation that actually drives the entire process. The journey to authentic wealth creation requires you to become exquisitely aware of what you're feeling while you're affirming, visualizing, or setting intentions. Your imagination functions as an invisible mold that shapes every aspect of your future reality. Behind the scenes, every image you repeatedly hold in your mind with strong emotion becomes a template that your subconscious uses to construct your experiences. This isn't metaphorical. It's a precise process that follows predictable laws. What you consistently visualize with genuine conviction literally ends up taking physical form in your life. The transformation occurs through the combination of three essential elements working together: vivid imagery, authentic emotion, and unwavering repetition. Most people master one or maybe two of these components, but true manifestation mastery requires all three operating in perfect harmony. When you can sustain clear mental pictures while feeling the emotions of already having achieved your desires, and you do this consistently over time, you create an unstoppable force for change. The impact of this consistent practice extends far beyond just attracting material wealth. Your imagination begins rewiring your entire nervous system, creating new neural pathways that support the behaviors, thoughts, and actions of the successful person you're becoming. Your brain literally cannot distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one that's charged with authentic emotion. What's fascinating about this process is how it demonstrates the true relationship between the inner and outer worlds. Most people believe that external circumstances determine internal states, but the wealthy understand that internal states determine external circumstances. When you master the art of generating authentic emotions through imagination, you gain the ability to feel successful before you see success, to feel abundant before you have abundance. This emotional authenticity requires a level of honesty with yourself that most people find uncomfortable. You have to be willing to examine the real feelings that arise when you think about wealth, success, or abundance. Often, you'll discover fears, unworthiness, or resistance that you didn't even know existed. But acknowledging these hidden emotions is the first step to transforming them. The journey involves learning to generate emotions intentionally rather than simply reacting to whatever circumstances present themselves. When you can feel grateful for money that hasn't arrived yet, excited about opportunities that haven't appeared yet, and confident about abilities you haven't fully developed yet, you're operating from the same emotional frequency as the reality you're trying to create. If you felt that shift happening while we explored these consciousness principles together, your like is more than just engagement. It's confirmation that you're ready to take this knowledge and actually apply it to transform your reality. Your consistent practice becomes the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every session of emotionally charged visualization is like making a deposit in an invisible bank account that accumulates interest until it reaches the tipping point where internal transformation becomes external manifestation. Now, I want to reveal exactly how this invisible molding process works at the quantum level and why understanding the science behind imagination makes it exponentially more powerful. Write in the comments, "I choose my emotions deliberately." The quantum science behind this process reveals something that fundamentally challenges everything we've been taught about how reality works. Your subconscious mind operates on a completely different set of rules than the physical world appears to follow. When you engage in intense, emotionally charged visualization, your subconscious literally cannot distinguish between what you're imagining and what you've actually experienced. This isn't a limitation. It's the most powerful feature of human consciousness. The transformation that occurs when you truly understand this principle is staggering. Every time you visualize prosperity, success, or abundance with genuine emotional intensity, you're not just daydreaming. You're sending precise instructions to the creative forces of the universe. Your subconscious begins treating these vivid mental experiences as memories of your future, and it starts organizing your entire reality to align with these anticipated outcomes. Behind the scenes, something extraordinary happens during this process. Your nervous system begins firing in the same patterns it would if you were actually experiencing the success you're visualizing. Your brain starts producing the same neurochemicals associated with achievement, confidence, and abundance. Essentially, you're giving yourself a preview of the emotional and physiological states that come with the reality you're creating. But here's where most people stumble on their journey to wealth creation. They underestimate the crucial difference between thinking about something and truly believing it's possible. Millions of thoughts flow through your consciousness every single day, like clouds passing through the sky. Most of these thoughts have virtually no impact on your reality because they lack the essential ingredient that transforms mere thinking into creative power: unwavering belief. Thought without belief is like having a powerful engine without fuel. The potential for creation exists, but there's no energy source to activate it. Belief becomes the switch that transforms passive thinking into active manifestation. When you can combine a clear thought about wealth with the unshakable conviction that it's not only possible but inevitable for you, you create a force that reality cannot resist. The hidden truth about this process is that belief isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you can deliberately cultivate and strengthen. Most people wait for evidence before they're willing to believe, but the universe operates on the opposite principle. It requires belief before it provides evidence. This reversal of conventional logic is what separates those who create wealth from those who simply hope for it. Your journey from limitation to abundance involves learning to generate belief in the absence of physical proof. This might seem impossible at first, but it's actually a skill that can be developed through practice. When you repeatedly visualize your desired outcomes with such emotional intensity that you can feel them in your body, taste them in your imagination, and experience them with all your senses, belief begins to grow naturally. The impact of combining focused thought with genuine belief creates what can only be described as a reality-bending force. Your subconscious starts working around the clock to manifest the experiences that match your beliefs. It begins highlighting opportunities that were always present but invisible to your previous mindset. It attracts people who can help you achieve your goals. It inspires actions that move you closer to your desired outcomes. This process demonstrates why positive thinking alone isn't sufficient. For creating wealth, positive thoughts without the foundation of genuine belief remain superficial and powerless. But when you can sustain thoughts about abundance, while simultaneously feeling absolute certainty that this abundance is your natural state, you tap into creative powers that most people never realize they possess. The revelations about how belief actually functions show that it's not a mental concept, but an energetic frequency. When you truly believe something is possible for you, you begin vibrating at the same frequency as that possibility, which makes you a magnetic match for its manifestation. Now, I want to explore exactly how to cultivate this unshakable belief, even when your current circumstances seem to contradict the reality you're trying to create, and why this apparent contradiction is actually the key to breaking through to your next level. Write in the comments, "I believe before I see." The transformation that occurs when you truly grasp this principle represents a complete reversal of how most people approach reality creation. Believing is fundamentally the act of accepting as true something that hasn't yet occurred in the physical world. This requires a level of mental courage that most people never develop because they've been conditioned to wait for proof before they're willing to invest their faith in an outcome. But here's the hidden truth that separates the wealthy from the struggling. The wise ones have learned to believe in order to see, rather than waiting to see before they're willing to believe. This isn't blind faith or wishful thinking. This is creative power in its purest form, operating according to universal laws that govern how energy transforms into matter, how thoughts become things, how invisible ideas manifest as tangible results. The journey from conventional thinking to wealth consciousness involves understanding that your imagination isn't just a place where you escape reality. It's the sacred workshop, where you actually create reality. Most people have been taught to dismiss imagination as fantasy, as something separate from the serious business of making money. But this is perhaps the most damaging misconception ever perpetuated about how wealth is actually created. Your imagination functions as a divine tool with which you can literally mold, transform, and attract anything you choose to focus on with sufficient intensity and consistency. This isn't about daydreaming or creating elaborate fantasies to avoid dealing with your current circumstances. This is about mental engineering, the precise science of using your consciousness to design and construct the life you desire. Behind the scenes of every great fortune, every breakthrough innovation, every seemingly impossible success story, there was someone who understood that imagination is the bridge between the invisible and visible worlds. They learned to work in this sacred workshop with the same discipline and intention that a master craftsman brings to creating a work of art. The impact of recognizing imagination as your primary creative tool changes everything about how you approach wealth building. Instead of feeling limited by your current resources, connections, or circumstances, you begin to understand that you have access to unlimited resources through the proper use of your mental faculties. Every solution you need, every opportunity you require, every person who can help you achieve your goals already exists in potential form within your imagination. This mental engineering process works because your subconscious mind treats vivid, emotionally charged images as blueprints for future construction. When you consistently feed it detailed pictures of your desired outcomes, accompanied by the feelings you would experience when those outcomes manifest, you're essentially placing an order with the creative forces of the universe. The revelations about how this sacred workshop actually operates show that there are specific techniques for maximizing its power. The clarity of your mental images, the emotional intensity you bring to the process, and the consistency of your practice all determine how quickly and effectively your imagination translates into physical results. Most people use their imagination randomly and unconsciously, which produces random and often unwanted results. But when you learn to use imagination deliberately, with clear intention and sustained focus, you gain access to what can only be described as supernatural creative abilities. You begin attracting resources, opportunities, and people that seem to appear from nowhere, but are actually responding to the vibrational frequency you're broadcasting through your mental imagery. The transformation occurs because your imagination doesn't just create pretty pictures in your mind, it literally rewrites your subconscious programming. Every session of focused visualization is reprogramming your beliefs about what's possible, expanding your comfort zone and aligning your energy with higher levels of success and abundance. Now, I want to reveal exactly how to use this sacred workshop with scientific precision and why certain visualization techniques produce miraculous results while others remain ineffective. Write in the comments, "My imagination is my creative power." The transformation deepens when you realize that faith isn't some vague spiritual concept or emotional consolation for difficult times. Faith, when properly understood, is actually an invisible construction tool, a precise mental force that allows you to tune your thoughts with mathematical accuracy to align with your desired results. This is where most people completely misunderstand how the wealthy actually think and operate. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every fortune built from nothing, every seemingly impossible achievement, there was someone who learned to wield faith as a construction instrument rather than treating it as a passive hope. They discovered that faith operates according to specific laws and principles, just like any other tool. When you understand these principles, you can use faith to literally construct the reality you desire. The hidden truth that changes everything is recognizing that faith isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you can deliberately train and cultivate. Just like building physical strength requires consistent exercise, building mental faith requires consistent practice. Your faith grows stronger through repetition, emotional engagement, and focused visualization, transforming from a weak wish into an unshakable knowing. This journey of faith development involves understanding that doubt and uncertainty aren't permanent fixtures of your personality. They're simply the result of insufficient training. Most people accept their current level of faith as fixed, never realizing they have the power to strengthen and expand it through deliberate practice. When you begin treating faith as a skill rather than a gift, you open up possibilities that seemed completely unrealistic before. The impact of cultivating scientific faith extends far beyond just feeling more optimistic about your goals. As your faith strengthens, your entire decision-making process transforms. You begin taking actions that your previous self would have considered too risky or impossible. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. Your energy shifts from defensive and protective to expansive and magnetic. What's fascinating about this process is how it demonstrates the relationship between internal certainty and external results. When your faith in a particular outcome becomes strong enough, you stop operating from a place of hoping it might happen and start operating from a place of knowing it will happen. This shift in certainty creates a completely different energetic signature that attracts matching circumstances and opportunities. The revelations about how faith actually functions show that it works through the combination of three essential elements working in harmony. Repetition creates familiarity and comfort with your desired outcome. Emotion provides the energy that charges your mental images with power. Visualization gives your faith a specific target to focus on, preventing it from remaining vague and unfocused. Your faith becomes stronger each time you practice holding a clear mental image of your desired outcome, while simultaneously feeling the emotions you would experience when that outcome manifests, and doing this repeatedly until it becomes as natural as breathing. This isn't self-hypnosis or positive thinking. This is mental conditioning that prepares your entire being to recognize and capitalize on the opportunities that will inevitably appear. The transformation occurs because strong faith changes how you interpret events and circumstances. What looks like rejection to someone with weak faith looks like redirection to someone with strong faith. What appears as failure to the doubtful mind appears as valuable feedback to the faithful mind. Your level of faith literally determines what you're able to see and access in any given situation. This scientific approach to faith development removes the mystery and uncertainty that keeps most people stuck in cycles of doubt and limitation. When you understand that faith grows stronger through practice, just like any other, ability, you can systematically build the level of certainty required to manifest extraordinary results. Now, I want to explore exactly how this trained faith interacts with the quantum field of possibilities, and why understanding this connection gives you access to opportunities that remain invisible to those operating from doubt and fear. Write in the comments, "I am building unshakable faith." The transformation accelerates when you realize that every single word that comes out of your mouth is functioning as a direct programming command to your subconscious mind, and, by extension, to the entire universe itself. Most people speak carelessly, never understanding that their words aren't just communication tools. They're reality creation instruments that are constantly shaping their experiences at the deepest level. Your casual conversations, your internal monologue, even the seemingly insignificant phrases you repeat throughout the day, are all functioning as mental programming. Software that's running continuously in the background of your consciousness. When you say things like, "I can't afford that," or "money doesn't grow on trees," or "I'm broke," you're not just expressing your current situation. You're actually programming your subconscious to maintain and perpetuate those exact circumstances. Behind the scenes, something profound happens every time you speak. Your words carry vibrational frequencies that penetrate far deeper than your conscious awareness. Your subconscious mind receives these verbal commands and begins organizing your thoughts, perceptions, and behaviors to align with whatever you're consistently declaring to be true. This is why changing your vocabulary is one of the fastest ways to begin transforming your financial reality. The journey from unconscious word usage to deliberate verbal programming requires understanding the crucial difference between mechanical repetition and repetition charged with genuine power and conviction. Most people who try affirmations fail because they approach them like they're reading a grocery list. They say the words without any emotional engagement or authentic belief behind them. Repeating a phrase without genuine emotion and conviction is literally like throwing seeds in the air and hoping they'll somehow take root. The words have no power to penetrate your subconscious programming because they lack the energetic charge necessary to create lasting change. But when you repeat affirmations with authentic power, deep conviction, and emotional intensity, you're planting those words like seeds with deep roots that will inevitably grow into your new reality. The impact of understanding this distinction cannot be overstated. Your subconscious mind responds to the energy behind your words far more than to the words themselves. When you declare, "I am attracting abundant opportunities," with the same conviction and emotional intensity you'd have if you were describing something that had already happened, your subconscious begins treating this statement as an established fact rather than a hopeful wish. This process works because repetition with power creates neural pathways in your brain that support your new identity. Every time you speak your desired reality with genuine conviction, you're literally rewiring your nervous system to align with that reality. Your brain begins producing the same neurochemicals and firing in the same patterns associated with actually experiencing what you're affirming. The hidden revelations about how this programming process actually functions show that your words are creating your world, whether you're conscious of it or not. The question isn't whether your words have power. They always do. The question is whether you're using that power deliberately to create what you want, or unconsciously to perpetuate what you don't want. Your transformation begins the moment you start treating every word as a sacred tool for reality creation. When you speak about money, relationships, opportunities, or any aspect of your life, you have the choice to either reinforce limitation or program abundance. This conscious choice in your verbal programming is what separates those who struggle financially from those who create wealth effortlessly. The decisions you make about your daily vocabulary literally determine the trajectory of your entire life. When you choose words that reflect confidence, abundance, and possibility, you're programming your subconscious to seek out and create experiences that match those frequencies. When you default to words of struggle, limitation, and fear, you're programming the exact opposite. Now, I want to explore exactly how to craft these verbal programs so they bypass your conscious resistance and speak directly to your subconscious in the most effective way possible, creating permanent changes in your deepest beliefs about money and success. Write in the comments, "I speak my reality into existence." The transformation deepens when you realize that wealth never actually begins in a bank account, in a business, or even in the physical world at all. Wealth begins in the invisible realm of your imagination, in the mental images you consistently hold and emotionally charge with your deepest convictions. The mental picture you sustain with the most emotional intensity becomes the governing force that shapes every aspect of your external reality. This revelation completely changes how you approach the entire process of wealth creation. Instead of looking outside yourself for opportunities, resources, or lucky breaks, you begin to understand that everything you need already exists in potential form within your own consciousness. Your imagination becomes the most valuable asset you possess, more valuable than any education, connection, or inheritance you could ever receive. Behind the scenes of this process lies what quantum physicists call the field of infinite possibilities. Your quantum mind represents your ability to transcend the apparent limitations of physical reality and operate at a level where anything becomes possible. This isn't metaphysical speculation. This is cutting-edge science that explains how consciousness interacts with the fundamental fabric of reality itself. The journey from limitation to abundance requires understanding that you're not confined by your present circumstances, your family background, your education level, or any of the inherited beliefs that were programmed into you during childhood. Your quantum mind has the power to access possibilities that exist completely outside the range of your current experience. When you learn to operate from this expanded level of consciousness, you gain access to solutions, opportunities, and resources that simply don't exist at the level of conventional thinking. What's fascinating about this quantum approach to wealth creation is how it demonstrates the malleable nature of reality itself. The physical world that appears so solid and unchangeable is actually a field of energy and information that responds to the frequency of your dominant thoughts and emotions. When you consistently hold mental images of prosperity, success, and abundance with genuine emotional conviction, you're literally programming the quantum field to reorganize itself around those images. Your mental pictures function like holograms that contain all the information necessary to manifest as physical experiences. Every detail you add to your visualizations, every emotion you attach to your mental images, every sensory element you include in your imagination becomes part of the blueprint that your quantum mind uses to construct your future reality. The impact of understanding this principle extends far beyond just financial success. When you realize that your sustained mental images are actively shaping your future, you begin taking complete responsibility for the quality and content of your thoughts. You stop allowing your imagination to run wild with fears, worries, and negative scenarios, and you start deliberately crafting mental movies that reflect exactly what you want to experience. This process requires a level of mental discipline that most people never develop because they've been conditioned to react to circumstances rather than create them. But when you master the art of sustained, emotionally charged visualization, you gain access to creative powers that seem almost supernatural to those operating from conventional consciousness. The hidden truth about your quantum mind is that it doesn't operate according to the same rules as your Logical, analytical mind. It can access information from the past, present, and future simultaneously. It can connect with resources and opportunities that exist completely outside your current network or awareness. It can inspire actions and decisions that lead to results your conscious mind could never have calculated or predicted. Your transformation occurs when you shift from trying to figure everything out with your logical mind to trusting your quantum mind to orchestrate the manifestation of your desires in ways that transcend ordinary cause and effect. This requires developing faith in invisible processes and learning to act on inspiration even when you can't see the entire path ahead. Now, I want to explore exactly how to activate and harness this quantum consciousness for wealth creation, and why most people never access this level of creative power despite having it available to them all along. Write in the comments, "I access infinite possibilities." The transformation becomes truly profound when you realize that everything you repeat to yourself with genuine conviction literally becomes law for your mind. This isn't just motivational speaking. This is the precise science of mental programming through autosuggestion. Your subconscious mind operates like the most sophisticated computer ever created, and autosuggestion is the programming language that allows you to install new software that runs your entire life experience. Most people go through their entire lives never understanding that they're constantly programming themselves through their internal dialogue. Every repeated thought, every habitual phrase, every recurring mental pattern is functioning as an auto-suggestion session that's shaping their destiny. The tragedy is that most of this programming is happening unconsciously, installing limitations, fears, and scarcity patterns that create exactly the opposite of what people actually want. But when you master the art of deliberate autosuggestion, when you learn to influence your subconscious through intention-charged affirmations that carry the full force of your conviction, you gain the power to literally reprogram your destiny from the inside out. This process works because your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you're affirming and what you're experiencing. When you repeat something with sufficient emotional intensity and unwavering belief, your mind begins treating it as an established fact. The journey into this deeper level of mental mastery reveals that within you exists a secret workshop, an unlimited space where you can literally mold and shape your future before it manifests in the physical world. This workshop is your imagination, but not the casual daydreaming that most people engage in. This is imagination elevated to the level of vivid, emotionally immersive experience that becomes indistinguishable from reality in your nervous system. Behind the scenes, something extraordinary happens when you engage with this secret workshop consistently. Your brain begins creating new neural pathways that support the reality you're constructing in your imagination. Your nervous system starts firing in patterns that match the success, wealth, and abundance you're experiencing in your mental workshop. Essentially, you're giving yourself advanced training in being successful before you actually achieve success in the external world. The impact of understanding imagination as your secret workshop completely changes your relationship with goal achievement. Instead of hoping that external circumstances will somehow align to create your desired outcomes, you begin creating those outcomes first in the laboratory of your mind. You become the architect of your own experience, designing and testing different scenarios until you find the perfect blueprint for your success. This hidden truth about your creative capabilities explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others struggle for years without making progress. Those who understand imagination as a tool for reality construction are constantly working in their secret workshop, refining their visions, strengthening their emotional connection to their goals, and programming their subconscious with increasingly detailed blueprints for success. Your secret workshop operates according to specific principles that maximize its effectiveness. The more detailed and sensory-rich you make your Mental experiences, the more powerfully they program your subconscious. When you can see, hear, feel, taste, and even smell the reality you're creating in your imagination, you're engaging multiple channels of communication with your deeper mind. The revelations about how this workshop actually functions show that it's not separate from the quantum field we discussed earlier. It's your primary access point to that field. Every session in your secret workshop is actually a session of quantum programming, where you're collapsing infinite possibilities into specific probabilities that favor your desired outcomes. Your transformation accelerates when you commit to spending time in this workshop daily, treating it with the same seriousness and consistency that a master craftsman brings to their physical workshop. Each session builds upon the previous one, creating momentum that eventually reaches a tipping point where your internal reality becomes so compelling that external reality has no choice but to conform to it. Now, I want to reveal exactly how to design your workshop sessions for maximum impact and why the specific techniques used in this secret space can compress years of struggle into months of accelerated manifestation. Write in the comments, "I am the architect of my destiny." The transformation reaches an entirely new level when you understand that you're functioning as a living magnet every moment of every day, constantly attracting toward you that which you focus your energy on most consistently. This isn't some mystical concept. This is a precise description of how your consciousness interacts with the energetic fabric of reality itself. Every single thought you think and every emotion you feel emits a specific vibrational frequency that extends out into the universe and inevitably returns to you carrying experiences that match that exact same frequency. Most people completely underestimate the power of this magnetic force because they can't see it operating, but it's working with the same reliability as gravity or electricity. When you consistently focus your mental and emotional energy on scarcity, struggle, and limitation, you're literally broadcasting a signal that attracts more experiences of scarcity, struggle, and limitation. But when you learn to focus your energy on abundance, opportunity, and success, you begin attracting experiences that match those higher frequencies. The journey from unconscious attraction to deliberate manifestation involves understanding that you have complete control over the vibrational signal you're broadcasting at any given moment. Your thoughts create the basic frequency, but it's your emotions that amplify and charge that frequency with the power necessary to manifest tangible results. This is why thinking positive thoughts without feeling positive emotions produces such limited results. Behind the scenes, your subconscious mind is operating like the most sophisticated internal wealth bank you could ever imagine. Every positive thought, every optimistic emotion, every moment of gratitude functions as a deposit that accumulates mental wealth in your subconscious account. But every negative thought, every pessimistic emotion, every moment of fear or doubt functions as a withdrawal that diminishes your balance and reduces your capacity to attract abundance. The impact of viewing your subconscious as a wealth bank completely changes how you manage your mental and emotional resources throughout the day. Just as you would never walk into a physical bank and start throwing money away randomly, you begin protecting your mental deposits and minimizing your emotional withdrawals. You become conscious of the cost of negative thinking and the value of positive mental investments. This banking system operates according to the same principles as compound interest. Small, consistent deposits of positive thoughts and emotions accumulate over time and begin generating returns that far exceed your initial investments. But the reverse is also true. Consistent withdrawals through negative thinking and emotional reactivity create a downward spiral that becomes increasingly difficult to escape. The hidden truth about this internal banking system is that it's always operating, whether you're conscious of it or not. Most people go through their lives making random deposits and withdrawals without any awareness of their account balance or understanding of how to maximize their returns. They wonder why their external circumstances remain limited while their internal account remains depleted through unconscious mental and emotional spending. Your transformation begins when you start treating your thoughts and emotions as valuable currency that should be invested wisely rather than spent carelessly. This requires developing the discipline to monitor your internal dialogue and emotional states with the same attention you would give to managing a significant financial portfolio. The revelations about how this wealth bank actually functions show that your current external circumstances are simply a reflection of your internal account balance. If you want to see more wealth in your physical bank account, you must first build wealth in your mental bank account through consistent deposits of abundance-focused thoughts and prosperity-generating emotions. This process doesn't require you to ignore or deny challenging circumstances. It requires you to consciously choose thoughts and emotions that deposit value rather than create debt in your internal wealth system. Every time you choose gratitude over complaint, excitement over fear, or confidence over doubt, you're making a strategic investment in your future abundance. Now I want to explore exactly how to maximize the returns on these mental investments and why understanding the compound effect of emotional energy creates exponential growth in your manifestation abilities. Write in the comments, "I invest in positive thoughts daily." The transformation reaches its deepest level when you understand the fundamental principle that governs all manifestation. The invisible creates the visible. This isn't just a philosophical concept. It's the operating system of the universe itself. Wealth, success, and abundance are never just the result of external actions, strategies, or circumstances. They are the inevitable manifestation of invisible laws that govern both the universe and your mind, working in perfect harmony to create your external reality. Behind the scenes of every fortune, every breakthrough, every seemingly impossible success story, these invisible laws were operating with mathematical precision. The wealthy don't just happen to be lucky or more talented. They've learned to align themselves with these universal principles, often without even realizing they're doing it. They've discovered how to work with the invisible forces rather than against them, and this alignment creates what appears to be effortless success. The journey into understanding these invisible laws reveals that everything you see in the physical world is simply the end result of processes that began in the realm of the unseen. Your bank account, your relationships, your opportunities, your entire life experience, all of it is the visible manifestation of invisible causes that originated in the depths of your consciousness. When you truly grasp this principle, you realize that changing your external circumstances requires working at the invisible level first. What's remarkable about these invisible laws is how they operate with complete consistency and reliability, never making exceptions and never playing favorites. They respond to the vibrational frequency you're broadcasting through your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs with the same precision that a radio receives whatever station you tune it to. If you're tuned to scarcity, you'll receive scarcity. If you're tuned to abundance, you'll receive abundance. The impact of recognizing these laws extends far beyond just understanding how manifestation works. It fundamentally changes how you approach every aspect of your life. Instead of focusing primarily on external strategies and actions, you begin investing your energy in aligning with the invisible forces that actually create your results. You start working with the universe rather than trying to force outcomes through willpower alone. But here's where most people miss the deepest secret of all. Accessing these invisible laws requires a level of inner silence that our noisy, distracted world actively discourages. In the depths of true silence, beyond the constant chatter of your thinking mind, beyond the endless stream of external stimulation, lies the greatest power you will ever discover. This inner silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's a sacred space where you can connect directly with the creative forces of the universe. The hidden truth that transforms everything is understanding that inner silence functions as a master key that unlocks infinite wealth in your life. Not just financial wealth, but wealth in every form. Opportunities, relationships, creativity, intuition, and solutions to problems that seemed impossible to solve. This silence creates a direct channel between your conscious awareness and the quantum field of infinite possibilities. Your transformation accelerates exponentially when you learn to cultivate this inner silence on a regular basis. In these moments of deep quiet, your mind stops its endless analyzing, planning, and worrying, and you gain access to intelligence that operates far beyond the limitations of logical thinking. This is where breakthrough insights appear, where inspired actions become obvious, where the next steps on your journey reveal themselves with perfect clarity. The revelations that emerge from this silence aren't just random thoughts or wishful thinking. They're direct communications from the same intelligence that orchestrates the movement of planets, the growth of plants, and the beating of your heart. When you learn to listen at this level, you tap into a source of guidance that never makes mistakes and always knows the most efficient path to your desired outcomes. Most people never access this power because they're afraid of silence, uncomfortable with stillness, addicted to the constant stimulation that keeps their minds perpetually distracted. But those who master the art of inner silence gain access to capabilities that seem almost supernatural to those operating from surface consciousness alone. Now, I want to explore exactly how to cultivate this transformative silence and why the specific practices that develop this inner stillness become the foundation for all sustainable wealth creation. Write in the comments, "I embrace the power of silence." The transformation becomes truly extraordinary when you understand that inner silence creates the perfect conditions for something most people never experience: complete synchronization between your conscious and subconscious minds. In our normal waking state, these two aspects of your consciousness are often working at cross purposes, with your conscious mind wanting one thing while your subconscious is programmed for something entirely different. But in the depths of genuine silence, this internal conflict dissolves and your entire mental system begins operating as a unified force. This synchronization process is where the real magic of wealth creation happens. As your conscious and subconscious minds align in silence, the limiting beliefs that have been blocking your prosperity naturally begin to dissolve. It's not that you have to fight these beliefs or force them out. They simply lose their power when your entire consciousness becomes coherent and focused on the same objective. In this synchronized state, space opens for completely new wealth patterns to install themselves at the deepest level of your being. Behind the scenes, something profound occurs during these moments of mental synchronization. Your brain waves shift into patterns that neuroscientists associate with peak performance, creativity, and breakthrough insights. Your nervous system releases the chronic tension that comes from internal conflict. Your entire energetic system becomes aligned with your highest intentions, creating a powerful magnetic field that attracts opportunities and resources with unprecedented efficiency. The journey into this level of consciousness reveals one of the most fundamental laws governing all of existence: the law of correspondence. This universal principle states that everything in the universe reflects on different planes, creating perfect mirrors between different levels of reality. Your outer world, your bank account, your relationships, your opportunities, your entire life experience is an exact reflection of your inner world, your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and the overall quality of your consciousness. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change their external circumstances without ever realizing that these circumstances are simply mirrors reflecting their internal state. They work harder, strategize more, network extensively, and implement countless tactics, but their results remain limited because they're trying to change the reflection instead of changing what's creating the reflection in the first place. The impact of truly understanding the law of correspondence is revolutionary because it reveals that you have far more control over your circumstances than you ever imagined. Every external limitation you're experiencing is pointing you toward an internal limitation that needs to be addressed. Every financial challenge is reflecting a consciousness pattern that's blocking abundance. Every struggle is showing you exactly where your inner work needs to focus. This principle operates with perfect precision and complete consistency. If there's chaos in your external world, there's chaos in your internal world. If there's scarcity in your bank account, there's scarcity in your consciousness. If there's instability in your income, there's instability in your mental patterns. The outer world never lies about what's happening in the inner world. It reflects everything with absolute accuracy. But here's the hidden truth that changes everything. When you align your inner world with abundance, prosperity and success through the practices we've been exploring, your outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself to match this new internal reality. The law of correspondence works both ways. Just as internal limitation creates external limitation, internal abundance creates external abundance. Your transformation accelerates when you stop trying to fix your external circumstances and start investing all your energy in creating the internal state that naturally produces the external results you desire. This requires developing the ability to feel abundant before you see abundance, to feel successful before you achieve success, to feel wealthy before you have wealth. The revelations that emerge from working with this law show that your external circumstances are constantly giving you feedback about your internal state. Instead of getting frustrated with challenging situations, you can use them as diagnostic tools that show you exactly which internal patterns need to be upgraded. Every problem becomes a pointer toward the solution that exists at the consciousness level. Now, I want to explore exactly how to use this law of correspondence as a practical tool for accelerating your wealth creation, and why understanding this mirror principle gives you unprecedented power to transform your entire life experience. Write in the comments, "My outer world reflects my inner world." The transformation becomes even more powerful when you realize that the law of correspondence operates through a very specific mechanism. The vibrational frequency generated by your emotions becomes the true motor that drives this universal principle. Your thoughts create the blueprint, but it's the emotional energy you consistently generate that determines what actually gets attracted into your experience. This is why two people can have identical thoughts about wealth, but only one manifests abundance. The difference lies in the emotional vibration there. Broadcasting. Every emotion you feel creates a specific energetic signature that radiates out from your consciousness like ripples in a pond. These vibrational waves carry information about your internal state and attract experiences that match that exact frequency. When you consistently generate emotions of fear, worry, or scarcity, you're broadcasting a signal that magnetizes more situations that will generate those same emotions. But when you learn to consciously cultivate emotions like gratitude, excitement, and appreciation, you begin attracting experiences that give you more reasons to feel grateful, excited, and appreciative. The journey into mastering your vibrational frequency reveals one of the most powerful secrets of wealthy consciousness. Gratitude functions as a vibration elevator that instantly shifts your energetic signature to a higher frequency. This isn't just about feeling good or being positive. This is about using gratitude as a precise tool for tuning your consciousness to the frequency of abundance. When you can feel genuinely grateful for what you already have, even while desiring more, you create a magnetic field that attracts additional blessings with remarkable consistency. Behind the scenes, something extraordinary happens when you combine this elevated emotional vibration with the power of creative thought. Most people assume that creative thinking is just daydreaming or wishful imagination, but true creative thought is actually an active force that literally molds reality according to your conscious intentions. When you learn to direct your mind toward deliberate creation rather than random fantasy, you begin the process of converting invisible ideas into tangible projects, opportunities, and results. The impact of understanding creative thought as a reality-molding force completely changes how you approach problem-solving, goal achievement, and wealth creation. Instead of waiting for external circumstances to provide solutions or opportunities, you begin generating them through the focused application of your creative faculties. Your mind becomes a laboratory where you can test different scenarios, explore various possibilities, and design optimal outcomes before taking any physical action. This process works because creative thought, when properly directed, creates detailed blueprints in your consciousness that your subconscious mind then uses as templates for manifesting corresponding experiences in the physical world. Every successful entrepreneur, inventor, or wealth creator has mastered this ability to think creatively and systematically, using their imagination not as an escape from reality, but as a tool for creating new realities. The hidden truth about creative thought is that it requires the same discipline and focus that you would bring to any other skill you wanted to master. Random daydreaming produces random results, but systematic creative thinking produces systematic breakthroughs. When you combine specific visualization techniques with elevated emotional states and consistent practice, you develop the ability to literally think your way into higher levels of success and abundance. Your transformation accelerates when you begin treating your creative faculties as your most valuable business asset. Every session of focused creative thinking becomes a strategic planning meeting with your subconscious mind, where you're designing not just what you want to achieve, but exactly how you want to feel in the process of achieving it. This emotional component is crucial because it ensures that your creative thoughts carry the vibrational charge necessary to manifest as physical experiences. The revelations that emerge from mastering creative thought show that wealth creation is fundamentally a creative process. Money, opportunities, and resources flow toward those who can consistently generate new ideas, innovative solutions, and original approaches to adding value in the world. When you develop your creative thinking abilities, you're essentially developing your wealth-generating capacity at the most fundamental level. Now, I want to explore exactly how to channel this creative force with surgical precision, and why understanding the specific relationship between creative thought and quantum manifestation gives you access to unlimited problem-solving capabilities. Write in the comments, "I create wealth through conscious thought." The transformation reaches its most profound level when you discover the ancient art of mental alchemy, the conscious process of transforming any difficulty, setback, or challenge into a source of growth and abundance. This isn't about positive thinking or pretending problems don't exist. This is about developing the sophisticated mental skills that allow you to extract value, wisdom, and opportunity from every experience, regardless of how challenging it might initially appear. Most people approach obstacles as enemies to be avoided or endured, never realizing that these apparent roadblocks are actually disguised opportunities waiting to be recognized and utilized. Every difficulty you encounter contains within it the seeds of equivalent or greater benefit. But accessing these hidden gifts requires a level of mental sophistication that most people never develop. The wealthy understand this principle intuitively, which is why they often seem to thrive in conditions that would devastate others. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every significant fortune, every revolutionary innovation, there was someone who mastered the art of mental alchemy. They learn to transform their greatest challenges into their greatest assets, their biggest failures into their most valuable lessons, their most painful experiences into their most powerful sources of wisdom and strength. This ability to extract gold from what appears to be lead becomes the foundation of sustainable wealth creation. The journey into mental alchemy begins with understanding that your interpretation of events determines their impact on your life far more than the events themselves. Two people can experience identical circumstances but create completely different outcomes based solely on how they choose to interpret and respond to those circumstances. This reveals that you have far more control over your experience than you might have previously realized. The most powerful technique in mental alchemy is conscious reinterpretation, the deliberate practice of examining every challenge through the lens of potential benefit rather than immediate loss. Instead of allowing yourself to feel defeated by setbacks, financial losses, or missed opportunities, you begin asking more empowering questions. What lesson is this experience teaching me? How can I use this knowledge to improve my decision-making? What skills is this challenge forcing me to develop that will serve me in the future? This process of conscious reinterpretation literally rewires your brain to look for value in every experience. Your nervous system begins responding to challenges with curiosity rather than fear, with excitement about potential learning rather than anxiety about potential loss. This fundamental shift in your relationship with difficulty creates a profound competitive advantage because you're able to extract wisdom and strength from situations that would weaken or discourage others. The impact of mastering mental alchemy extends far beyond just maintaining a positive attitude during tough times. When you consistently transform obstacles into opportunities, you develop an unshakable confidence in your ability to handle whatever life presents. This confidence changes how you show up in the world, how you make decisions, and how others perceive and respond to you. You begin radiating the energy of someone who thrives under pressure rather than someone who crumbles when challenged. The hidden truth about this alchemical process is that it actually accelerates your path to wealth and success because it eliminates the fear that keeps most people playing small. When you know that you can transform any setback into a setup for a comeback, you become willing to take bigger risks, pursue larger opportunities, and think beyond the limitations that constrain conventional thinking. Your transformation occurs when you realize that mental alchemy isn't just a technique for dealing with problems. It's a way of thinking that creates value from every experience. The more skillfully you practice this art, the more valuable every moment of your life becomes, regardless of whether external circumstances appear favorable or challenging. This alchemical mindset becomes particularly powerful when applied to financial challenges or business setbacks. Instead of viewing these as evidence of your limitations, you begin seeing them as valuable market research, as lessons in risk management, as opportunities to develop resilience and strategic thinking skills that will serve you throughout your entrepreneurial journey. Now, I want to explore exactly how to apply these alchemical principles to specific wealth-building challenges, and why mastering this transformation process becomes the ultimate insurance policy against any economic uncertainty or market volatility. Write in the comments, I transform obstacles into opportunities. The transformation deepens dramatically when you understand that true, creative visualization is far more than simply imagining something in a passive, dreamlike state. This is a deliberate and powerfully focused act where your mind functions as a sophisticated magnet, actively attracting toward you whatever you focus on with genuine intensity and crystal clear clarity. Most people approach visualization like they're watching a movie, remaining emotionally detached observers of their own mental imagery. But this approach produces virtually no real-world results. Effective visualization requires you to activate all of your senses simultaneously, creating such a vivid and immersive mental experience that your nervous system responds as if you're actually living the reality you're imagining. When you can see the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures, smell the scents, and even taste the success you're visualizing, you're engaging multiple channels of communication with your subconscious mind. This multisensory approach creates neural pathways that support the behaviors, decisions, and actions necessary to manifest your vision in physical reality. Behind the scenes, something extraordinary occurs when you master this level of sensory-rich visualization. Your brain begins producing the same neurochemicals and firing in the same patterns it would if you were actually experiencing the success you're imagining. Your confidence increases because your nervous system has already experienced success multiple times in your imagination. Your decision-making improves because you're operating from the mental state of someone who has already achieved their goals. The journey into this deeper level of consciousness reveals the profound truth about your quantum mind. Your innate ability to transcend the apparent limitations of physical reality and operate at a level where infinite possibilities exist simultaneously. This isn't metaphysical speculation. This is cutting-edge quantum physics applied to consciousness development. At the quantum level, everything in the universe, including money, opportunities, and resources, exists as vibrational energy that responds to the frequency of your focused attention. Your quantum mind operates beyond the constraints of linear time and three-dimensional space. It can access information from the past, present, and future simultaneously. It can connect with opportunities and resources that exist completely outside your current network or awareness. It can inspire solutions to problems that your logical mind could never calculate or predict. When you learn to access and direct this quantum level of consciousness, you gain capabilities that seem almost supernatural to those operating from conventional awareness. The impact of understanding everything as vibrational energy completely revolutionizes your approach to wealth creation. Money stops being a solid, scarce resource that you have to struggle to obtain and becomes a frequency that you can learn to match and attract. Opportunities stop being random events that you hope will appear and become energetic probabilities that you can collapse into physical manifestation through focused intention. This quantum perspective reveals why visualization works with such remarkable effectiveness when done correctly. Every time you create a detailed, emotionally charged mental image of your desired outcome, you're actually collapsing quantum possibilities into specific probabilities. You're programming the field of infinite potential to organize itself around your focused intentions, creating what scientists call quantum entanglement between your consciousness and your desired reality. The hidden truth about your quantum capabilities is that they're always operating, whether you're conscious of them or not. Your focused attention is constantly collapsing possibilities into probabilities and probabilities into experiences. The question isn't whether you have these quantum abilities. You do. The question is whether you're using them consciously to create what you want, or unconsciously to perpetuate what you don't want. Your transformation accelerates exponentially when you begin deliberately engaging your quantum mind through systematic visualization practices that activate all your senses while maintaining focused intention on specific outcomes. This combination of sensory engagement, emotional intensity, and quantum awareness creates a manifestation force that operates far beyond the limitations of conventional goal setting or strategic planning. Now, I want to explore exactly how to synchronize your quantum consciousness with the vibrational frequency of wealth, and why understanding this energetic relationship gives you access to resources and opportunities that exist completely outside normal channels of acquisition. Write in the comments, "I activate my quantum potential." The transformation reaches its ultimate expression when you understand that intention functions as the invisible force that literally moves the universe in your favor. This isn't just wishful thinking or positive visualization. This is the fundamental creative power that underlies all manifestation. Conscious intention represents the deliberate act of focusing all your mental, emotional, and spiritual energy on a specific objective with such clarity and conviction that the quantum field has no choice but to reorganize itself around your focused desire. Most people scatter their intentional energy across dozens of different wants, wishes, and half-hearted goals, never understanding why their results remain mediocre despite their efforts. But when you learn to concentrate your entire being, your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions, into a single, laser-focused intention, you create a force that can move mountains and manifest what others consider impossible. Behind the scenes, conscious intention works by creating what quantum physicists call coherence in your energy field. Instead of broadcasting mixed signals that confuse the universe about what you actually want, focused intention creates a clear, consistent frequency that attracts matching experiences with remarkable precision. Your intention becomes like a GPS system for the universe, providing clear coordinates for where you want to arrive. The journey into mastering conscious intention reveals that it requires far more than just deciding what you want. It demands complete alignment between your conscious desires and your subconscious programming. Many people set intentions that contradict their deepest beliefs about what's possible for them, creating internal conflict that sabotages their manifestation efforts before they can gain momentum. But there's an invisible enemy that destroys more dreams and derails more fortunes than any external obstacle ever could. The prison of fear that most people carry within their own consciousness. Fear functions as an invisible brake system that blocks the natural flow of wealth into your life. Every doubt you entertain, every worry you nurture, every fearful scenario you repeatedly imagine acts as a signal to the universe that you're not ready to receive the abundance you claim to desire. The impact of recognizing fear as the primary barrier to wealth creation completely changes how you approach personal development and success strategies. Instead of focusing primarily on external tactics and techniques, you begin investing your energy in identifying and dismantling the fear-based beliefs that are quietly undermining your efforts. This internal work often produces more dramatic results than years of external hustle and strategy implementation. What's fascinating about fear is how sophisticated it becomes as a survival mechanism. It doesn't just manifest as obvious terror or panic. It disguises itself as logical caution, reasonable doubt, and practical limitations. Fear convinces you that being realistic means accepting less than what you truly desire, that playing it safe is more important than playing to win, that the risk of failure outweighs the possibility of extraordinary success. Your transformation occurs when you realize that most of your fears aren't protecting you from real dangers. They're protecting you from the discomfort of growth, change, and stepping into your true potential. The fear of failure is really fear of judgment. The fear of success is really fear of responsibility. The fear of wealth is really fear of being different from others who remain financially limited. The hidden truth about breaking these fear chains is that it doesn't require you to become fearless. It requires you to develop the courage to act in spite of fear. Every time you make a decision based on possibility rather than limitation, take action inspired by vision rather than paralyzed by worry, or choose growth over safety, you're weakening the grip that fear has on your consciousness and strengthening your capacity to receive abundance. The revelations that emerge from this inner work show that fear and faith cannot coexist at the same frequency. When you consistently choose thoughts, emotions, and actions that reflect faith in your ability to create wealth, fear naturally dissolves because it has no energetic foundation to support it. This isn't about forcing positivity or denying challenges. It's about operating from an unshakable knowing that you have everything within you necessary to succeed. The transformation you've experienced by reaching this point isn't an accident. It's a sign that you're ready to step into a completely different relationship with wealth and abundance. You've just absorbed knowledge that most people will never encounter, secrets that have been hidden for centuries and are now being revealed to those who are truly ready to receive them. If this message resonated with something deep inside you, if you felt that spark of recognition when we talked about your quantum mind, your creative power, or your ability to transcend limitation through conscious intention, then you're exactly where you need to be. This isn't just another video you happen to watch. This is part of your journey toward activating the infinite wealth consciousness that's been waiting inside you all along. I create content like this because I know there are people like you out there, people who are ready for something deeper than surface-level success strategies, people who understand that true transformation happens from the inside out. If you want to continue receiving this level of insight and practical wisdom for activating your mind's unlimited potential, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Each video builds upon the last, creating a complete system for rewiring your consciousness for wealth and success. And here's how I know you truly absorbed what we've shared today. If you made it all the way to this moment, if you stayed present through this entire exploration of consciousness and wealth creation, leave a comment saying, "I'm ready for infinite abundance." When I see that phrase, I'll know you're someone who doesn't just consume content, but actually applies these principles to transform their life. If you felt that connection throughout our conversation today, if these ideas sparked something real inside you, showing your appreciation with a like helps this message reach others who need to hear it. There are people out there searching for exactly what you just experienced, and your engagement helps the algorithm find them. The journey doesn't end here, though. There's a video right here that takes everything we've discussed and shows you exactly how to implement these principles in your daily routine for maximum results. Click and continue with me over there, because what you're about to discover will turn today's insights into tomorrow's reality. Your infinite abundance is waiting.